Hi, John Musselman here, and today we're going to show you how to change out a smoke detector. First off, smoke detectors generally only last 10 years, so we always want to be changing them on a regular basis. First, if it looks like this, if it's yellow like this, it's just one of the signs that it's been here for a period of time, so it's important that we make sure that we replace them. So, anyway, first pulling it down, you can pull the clips off to pull this off and out. You can see this one actually has a little bit of a burn mark on there, or an overheating mark. So another good reason why we want to look at these things and replace them. Smoke detectors should be tested or monthly, actually, and actually vacuumed to kind of maintain them along the way. But on the back of them, if you're not sure how old it is, you can see right on the back of them what age it is. This one says that it's from 1999. So it's 23 years old. So is it time to replace? Absolutely. Today we're going to replace it with a similar model, but the newer one's actually going to be carbon monoxide and smoke together. So that's a good thing. First, we wanted to make sure that we test to make sure that the power is off. These are hardwired systems, so it's important to make sure that the power is off before we're touching them. I have a little tester here in my pocket, once I can pull it out. Here it is. So this shows that there's no power to it. I tested my tester before doing this to make sure of that, so I know that it actually works. All right, so I'm gonna pull the plate off first. You don't always have to take this plate off or like actually remove it. Sometimes you can just loosen these and slide it off. But the new plates are a little bit different and they use a different hole pattern. So in this situation, I have to take them off. We pull the power off, or the power cords out. This is actually where we power. The new unit that we have comes sealed. The new unit also has a 10-year battery, and that would be one thing that I would highly suggest for you if you're replacing your smoke detectors. These detectors cost a little bit more money on the front end, but you're not replacing the batteries twice a year. If you have to replace the battery twice a year, if you think of the cost and the time to do so, these then become less expensive. So, good choice as well. These come with a little cover on top of them, this particular manufacturer, which is nice. One of the things that the directions say for this particular model is that we need to pull this out before we put it into service. Works. But what that does is that it pulls the plastic off of the battery that's sealed inside of this unit. So it actually starts kind of its lifespan of 10 years. So sometimes on the backs of these, it tells you when it was manufactured. This one was manufactured in the beginning of 2021. Not a big deal because it didn't go into service until we pulled that plastic piece out. So on the sides of these, I always like to write the date when it was installed, so that as you walk by, you can kind of tell how old it is, because that's an important piece to the puzzle for the long term. But setting yourself a set of reminders is also a good thing to do when it's on a smoke detector, because then you understand, hey, when do you need to test it? When was it put in? You know, all that kind of information that sometimes we all forget about. So it's an important piece to put on our calendars so we remember. So this is ready to go in. We're gonna take the plate off. We're gonna take the plate off first, which is what we did. And now we're gonna make the wiring connection. If you're not an electrician, if you're not comfortable with working with electrical wires, I highly suggest not to do this project. But if you have some experience and you know how to make small connections as far as general connections with wiring, you know, then it's comes up to your comfort level of what you're used to doing. So anyway, let me get the connection points here. I got that. I tested to make sure the power was off. So you basically have three separate wires. You have your positive, your neutral, And this wire right here is kind of your jumper wire that connects in between all the other smoke detectors. The point of this is so that, hey, listen, if the smoke detector goes off in the one bedroom, they all go off all the way through the house, so that all of them are going off at once to make the loudest noise possible. When you get the new ones here, they have 3 different connection points. You have a white, a black, and this is either going to be yellow or red. The yellow one is the one that goes to that jumper wire. The white to white and black to black is how it's set up. We pull these off. When we pull them off, we want to make sure that we take our ends and we twist them so that that's nice and tight. So we should do it on all 3 of them. And when the old one's chirping. Okay, so we're ready to go there. I'm going to start with the positive here. Pull that off. Now, one thing that I like to do too is I like to replace the wire nuts along the way, but also make sure that these connection points are nice and tight if there's more than one wire there. This wire is also a little bit on the long side. 3/8 is really what you need. Manufacturers talk about the length of the wire. I like to twist it around so it goes in the same space as the other wires, and then twist it around the wires itself, and then put our wire nut on. When we're tightening these up, we want to make sure that we're getting them nice and tight. And you see the wires actually twisting together. Then I actually like to pull on it to make sure that it's secure. This connection looks good. I clip them so it's the same length. Grab myself another wire nut. Okay, looks good. Oh. Always keep a couple spare in your pocket, so you're not walking up and down the ladder unless you're looking for a exercise. Okay, that looks good. Our final one. Here's our red one. Okay, and that wire is actually a little bit on the long side, so I'm going to clip that. You don't want to have any wire sticking out of the wire nut. There we go. The style of wire nut that you use depends on the type of the size wires that you're using here. So on the side of the manufacturer of the wire nut, it says what gauge wires, the number of wires that you can put inside this or that's safe for that. This box up in here also had the ground put in here, but they never put a wire nut on it. You should always have a connection point or a wire nut on a connection. One, to make sure that it stays together, and 2, that those pointed wires aren't jabbing into any of these other wires. So I'm gonna put that into place so we're good there. I like to get them all together and wrap them so that they look nice together, and then get pushed up inside the box. You wrap them the same way that you twisted the wires so that they spiral up and in. And then this is right where you want it to be. Now we just put the plate on. Okay. So we're good to go there. Get my screws in here to speed up the process. You don't want to over tighten that, otherwise you can't get the unit in. One of the things to consider is this particular unit has the paint was shorter in this area here, but the new unit actually covers that. So you want to try to center this plate in there as much as possible, or have the ceiling paint on hand so that you can touch this. The other thing you want to do is make sure you keep your hands clean, because if you get dust and debris from the old one and then you touch the ceiling up here, that's going to be a problem. Well, you're going to see it. So anyway, we got that in place. We got the new plate in place. Now all we have to do is connect it. Make sure there's small pins, so make sure you have it lined up. You'll hear it click on both sides. Just and that's it. That's how we change out a hardwired smoke detector. The last and final thing that we will do is press the button and test them and make sure that all of them operate. I hope you found this video useful, and always like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.